Welcome to my latest video. In this video, what I'm going to be looking at is some of the lovely waterfalls up in the Yorkshire Dales. For those of you who tune in regularly, you'll know that I am partial to a bit of waterfall photography. One thing that I would say is over the last month or so, there's not been, there's hardly been any rain up on the Yorkshire Dales in the surrounding area, and which obviously accounts for hardly any water flow coming through the rivers and down onto the waterfalls. Some of the waterfalls I've photographed over the period of time are different types of waterfalls. I would say there is quite a few different types of waterfalls. There's the sheer drop waterfalls, which can be quite high. There's one up on the Dales that I will include in a later video. Then there's what I would call like a horseshoe waterfall, almost, if you imagine Niagara Falls, that type of shape waterfall, such as Richmond Waterfalls, which is not far from here. And then we've got stepped waterfalls that go into a series of small steps and end up in almost like a plunge pool. That's what I consider like the main waterfalls. There's some different types with the proper names, but they're the main ones that I'll be looking at during the different videos I'm going to produce over a period of time. The first place I'm going to go to is a place that I've been many times. It's Burton Falls. If you're out taking photographs up on the Dales of waterfalls and you want to get one that's quite easy to get around to the different sides of it and get some really nice compositions, what you will see in the video is over, it was probably around about a month ago, a couple of trees have fell into the plunge pool at Burton Falls. It's also known as Cauldron Falls, by the way. But that for me has kind of spoilt the composition. It's hard to get a nice shot of it now without having to clone out those big tree stumps that are lying in the water. I'm not a fan of photoshopping everything out of pictures, and I just think, unfortunately, those logs do distract the eye in the picture. This particular fall is around about 13 feet high in old money, or about 2.5 meters high. It's a nice waterfall. The key thing with this waterfall, I think, is getting the right water amount coming over the top. If it's too much, it doesn't really work. And if it's not enough, then again, you kind of struggle for a nice picture. Without further ado then, let's get into the video. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to show you just a few of the waterfalls in this area, and I'll follow it up with another video later. So let's go and let's jump into it. This particular waterfall is really easy to photograph. You can get on both sides, and at the moment there isn't much water in the falls, but I've tried to get my camera quite low down, well, as low down as I can, and that seems to be working quite well, although I don't think it's going to be an award-winning shot by any stretch of the imagination. But I am trying to incorporate a little bit of the waterfall in the foreground and really trying to get a bit of texture in there. Like I say, it's not going to be an award-winning shot, but I do think it's going to turn out quite nice. This evening it's starting to get dark already. It's quite warm down here at the minute, and there's nobody else around, which is fantastic for photography, and I've had the drone up for a little bit as well. So yes, that's where I'm at. I've decided to do a couple of vlogs on waterfalls in the Dales. I mean, let's be honest, that's what I do quite often, shoot waterfalls, but I thought that maybe just having a series of videos. I'm not necessarily going to do one after the other, but this certainly is volume 1 or series 1 if you like, of waterfalls here in the Yorkshire Dales and across the national park and up on the Dales itself. It is quite fast flowing normally. It's got 2 steps at the top. It's kind of a stepped cascade waterfall. There is different names for waterfalls, and I would probably say that this is a cascade really. And it goes into a plunge pool, and you'll often find people here having a whale swim in the water. The water is very clear today, which is fantastic. It's not, I don't like it when you get the brown tones from the soil, but yeah, so it's quite white, the water, which is fantastic. And what I want to do now, I want to crack on. I've already took a couple of shots, but I think the position that I'm in is probably the optimal position. I'm probably not going to use this shot with trees in the way, but yeah, I want to crack on. Let's make some pictures. So what I really love about this Nikon D850 compared to the D800 is the ability to tilt the screen. It's superb when I'm quite low down and I want to get the texture of the water, the running water, just really close to the lens. It really makes a difference. And I love the fact that I've got the tilting screen. I want to click it on live view, and my goodness, what a difference it makes. You can get really low and get some really quite dramatic shots from the lower angles. And the texture on the water is quite good at the moment, although I might be tempted just to get out the polarizer to bring down the reflection just a little bit. It is quite nice with the reflection at the moment, but I'm not too sure whether the highlight's actually taken away from the waterfall itself. I want to take a couple of more shots, and then I'll fit the polarizer to see what I get with that. Those logs are so destructive. They're getting on my nerves. It's really spoiling the shot. Really unfortunate, but there's not much I can do about it. We've just got to include them in the shot. Like I say, I'm probably not going to use this image anyway, but it would have been nice if they weren't there. I'll have to crack on anyway. So here's my polarizer. I'm going to try with this to see if it makes such a big difference. It might do, it might not, but you don't know until you try, do you? So let's try. My instructors at the School of Photography used to always say, if you've got a lens hood, then use it. So I am. So I'm on live view again. And I can see already that it's making a big difference. So I'm going to take a shot at this and see what I get. It's now given me 15 seconds, so certainly a longer exposure. I'm not really sure about that at all. Live view back on. I don't want info. I think this may be a better shot, hopefully. I do apologise if the water is really noisy. I'm hoping it's not too bad. 25 seconds now. It's getting a bit silly.
Another thing I should have mentioned, you do need to close the eyepiece, otherwise you'll get light pollution onto the CCD and it often turns like a magenta colour, so I've closed that up. And I want to try again with this. And I think that's the shot. I think that is the best shot. So I've just changed to portrait mode and it does look slightly better, but I'm not sure. The light's starting to get really bad now. So yeah, I'm just going to take one more shot and then call it a day. Now, I do hope that you've got something from this vlog. Like I say, this waterfall is really easy to photograph with plenty of opportunities around and about it to get different compositions. The composition I've chose, I think, is probably my favourite one. I have shot the same composition a couple of times before, and actually the upright shot works quite well from this location that I'm at with the camera at the moment. I'll put a shot up that I've taken before and see what you think, but I definitely think it works better in an upright shot. I'm also using an L bracket that I got off Temu. You can't go wrong really. A couple of quid I paid for it. I'll put that a picture of it now so you can see what it looks like. It's just an L bracket which enables me to shoot landscape or portrait quite quickly, and it's a really handy piece of kit. I should have got one years ago really, but I've only managed to get round to getting one now. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to crack on to my next location to see what that looks like, although I'm doubting whether it's going to be any good because there's not much water flowing over the top of this river at the minute, so I doubt whether the next location is going to be that good. Anyway, onwards and upwards, catch you in a bit. So you join me down at probably one of the most famous waterfalls in all of the Yorkshire Dales. This is the beautiful Aysgarth Falls just behind me here. We are actually at the lower falls, and correction, the upper falls. From here there's another set of waterfalls through the bridge down there, which is the middle falls and then the lower falls. These falls are famous for the Robin Hood, Kevin Costner movie. Those of you who have watched my vlogs before will know that I actually photographed here before, and it's in the series of Yorkshire Dales vlogs that I've done. And I am in no doubt in my mind that I'm not going to get a good of a shot that I've already had here in the past. That is a foregone conclusion, as they say. There's no way. I got an absolute banger here at the lower falls a couple of years ago, and I'm not going to get that tonight. Having said that, I am going to try to get something different from here. I've only photographed here once before actually at the upper falls, and it is quite hard to get a nice shot. Here are some shots from the winter that I took. You can see that there is only one side of the river really that you can get good shots on, and this is the side of the river that I'm standing on at the minute. In terms of exposure and everything else, I'm going to set up my camera just down here, and I'm going to try for an aperture of around about f16 to f22. I might try a really long exposure to try to get some blur in the clouds, but with that comes movement in the leaves on the trees, so it's a bit of a trade-off. I'm going to crack on now, and as I say, this is Aysgarth Falls. I'll put up the what three words for you in a second. Definitely one to visit. You do have to pay, at the time of making this video, it's £3.80 to pay to park in the car park. That doesn't matter what time of the day you come here, that's for up to 2 hours, then the price goes up slightly. But yeah, let's crack on and let's make some pictures. The sun's starting to go in now a bit, which is great. There's a bit of cloud, so that makes a big difference. Pretty straightforward composition. This is what I would suggest is a bit of a horseshoe waterfall. As I mentioned, I'm going to be aiming for an aperture of around about f16 to f22 really. I am quite high up here, looking down towards the waterfall, and yeah, I think it looks okay. Again, it's not going to be a banger, but it might be a nice shot. And just as I say, the sun's gone in, it's come back out again. Anyway, let's keep going. I don't often use the bottom legs of my tripod. I try to keep them as a last resort really. I tend to use the top and middle sections of a tripod. But in this particular case, needs must, and I'll go with what I have to use really. I always get my tripod set up and pointed in the direction that I want to use, ready to shoot my shot. And again, thankfully, the sun's gone in. Let's get the camera on the tripod and get this shot. I have annoyingly got some foliage in the right hand side of the frame, which is proving to be a bit of a nightmare. I'm going to have to lower my camera position a bit, I think. Yeah, I think having just spoken about the camera legs, I think I'm going to have to go down a bit lower. I want to try with that and see what I get. I think I'm going to get around about, I don't know, probably a 2-second exposure maybe. I've got the polarizer fitted to the front of the lens. This is going to really help cutting down on reflections and glare off the water. The sun is out again, annoyingly, but let's have a look. As you can see, I've got quite good levels there on the histogram. A little towards the shadow area, but there's plenty there to play with, and I think that's going to be okay. As you can see there, we've got f18 and a third of a second. I've opted to swing slightly round to the left. I don't know, I think this actual location and composition is a bit rubbish really. I'm not sure if I can get down lower. If I do, it's going to have to be a bit of a clamber, a bit of a climb, and I'm not really that keen to do that, to be honest. I may just have to go for the shot I've got from here. Yes, I've finally got it. I've finally got something I like. I just think that works so much better now. I'm just waiting for the sun to go in a bit. Yeah, I really like that shot. I think we've cracked it. So I need to really go to a different location, a different composition. The question is where to go to. Oh my goodness me, so I've made it to this little beauty of a waterfall just here. I'm not sure if you can see it in the background. The exposure is quite high, the highlights are quite high. I have been waiting to get to this point in the river for ages. I have been here before. I did have the camera on my phone on, trying to cross a little bit of a stream, but it got a little bit deep, so I decided to put it away and concentrate on getting across. But finally, I did get across. I'm on this little bit of an island, and it looks fantastic. There's a little bit of cloud in the sky with a little bit of colour, but I'm not sure that that's going to be enough. I just don't think I'm going to be able to do much with that. But I am looking for a shot, and this is a shot I want. I'm spraying everywhere. I need some texture in the water, and this should just do that. It looks pretty spectacular. There's probably 3 compositions I can get here. I've got to be quick. My wife's in the car, so yeah, I want to crack on and make a few pictures. Goodness me, I think I might have got a really nice shot there. I cannot be certain, but it seems to me it was pretty good. Like I said earlier, I have been to Aysgarth Falls before, but rarely do I come to the Upper Falls. I have, like I said before, in the winter been here, but yeah, it was really good. There was 2 people wandering around, but other than that, myself and my wife just wandered around, had the place to ourselves, which is always a bonus, really. Another banger of a waterfall. Aysgarth Falls is the Yorkshire Dales main waterfall, really. It's got its own car park and visitor centre, and yeah, certainly worth a visit. You can get quite close to the waterfall as well. Obviously, just be careful with your footing if you do visit. And yeah, until the next one.
So there you have it then. Thanks for tuning in as always. What I'm going to be doing next time is I'm hoping to get a little bit of coastal photography. I'm heading up towards Tynemouth, so maybe a couple of lighthouses if I'm lucky with the weather. At the moment, it's not looking too bad, but I'm not going to hold my breath. You know what it's like. 1 minute you think it's going to be fantastic when you're following the weather apps, and then the next minute the weather just doesn't play ball. But who knows? Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.